Our guest, artist of the week, is a filmmaker and storyteller with an astonishing creative latitude in the production ecosystem. His career as a professional filmmaker took off in 2014 in Cape Town.
All the way.
Yes.
All the way.
Before xenophobia became a thing. After he completed his film certificate course at SAE Institute, he returned home and never looked back. His short film, The Mechanic, which has refused to give us to watch, was voted the best short film in Nigeria in 2017 at the Abuja International Film Festival.
Yeah.
In 2019, to further his horizon, he took a detour into the corporate world of agency production.
Yeah.
Since then, he served as head of production of one of the most cutting-edge production agencies in Nigeria, where he worked in different capacities and on several projects as writer, director, producer, sound designer, editor, channel, several, you name it.
You name it.
Ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, please welcome Timi Pudie.
What a long.
Sometimes when you hear, I'm very sure you're wondering, who are they talking about?
Who are they talking about? Is that me? Could that be me?
It's amazing.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
You know, my producer has a thing for people in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Because they are the people that many people see.
Yeah.
But I'd like you to give us an inkling into what stars are made of that we don't see.
Yeah.
You are a should I say a star maker? You know, you see a talent. This person can do this thing fantastically well, and you say, okay, let's go for it. What are the things that you think that people need to understand? Give us your experience of working with different people, you know, and you know what it is that goes on behind the scene that many people don't really see or know.
Well, a lot goes on behind the scene. Like I said, for those of us who are behind the scene, one of the strangest things people don't get most times when you see a lot of people who are directors, producers, loving behind the scene, being in front of the camera, horrible. So sometimes when I tell people I'm camera shy, they're like, you, how? You know, but a lot of times being behind gives you, for someone like me, the ability to be able to see the big picture. Sometimes you see people who have something to offer, and sometimes they don't even see it in themselves. That ability to help them bring it out. Then there's also the flip side of working with people who are experienced working in front of cameras, how to manage them. Because it's a big difference. Working with someone who you're just grooming is not the same as working with an experienced actor or someone like that. I play a lot in the documentary space and commercial, so that's one space where you meet a lot of people who are not very camera friendly. Yeah. Many who don't know. So as documentary filmmaker and storyteller of my core, part of what I've learned over the years is how to make anybody feel comfortable in front of the camera. Most times having things like the pre-interview, before the interview, getting to bond with them. And I've had many times when I had this trick where I tell my camera person, don't roll yet, let's just gist. But they understand that that's a cue of start rolling. And then I have these conversations, and then we're gisting, and then the person is just free talking, and by the time we're done, I'm like, okay, cut. And they're like, what are you cutting? I'm like, we're done. I'm like, no, but we're just rehearsing. In that space, for most people, that's the best way you can get the most natural feel. Like, I tell people, I don't care who you are. Once the camera starts rolling, you start acting. Regardless. Regardless. So we have to learn, and in documentary, there's something we call the fly on the wall. The ability to be there like you're not there. So that you can get these people when they are feeling like nothing is happening. So as much as possible, we try to do that. I give the example sometimes, it could be in church. You are in the spirit worshiping, and then you just open your eye and the camera is in front of you.
Yeah.
You will come back to earth because somehow the human in you kicks in and you're self-conscious. So it's a world, that you keep navigating every now and again. And to be honest, there is no one size fits all. What works for A may not work for B completely. So this person today, you did this, and then they were able to. For another person, you need to understand them well enough to know what will make them tick. So for me, it feels like psychology. You're studying everybody you meet, and a lot of times when people come around me, it feels like you study people a lot. You observe people. I'm like, it's my job. I have to do that.
Now, I would like. There are two things I'd like you to do. You're going to give us a masterclass this morning, but before then, tell us, because I think this is lost, and the African story, I think it's largely lost. When people, I tend to play on Facebook a little more frequently these days, and I have no idea why. I don't even know how it started. But so I see a lot of stories, right? And some of them AI, but I'm not even as much a big fan of AI videos because they're always looking in the wrong direction. But there are a lot of African stories that are untold.
Yeah.
So what are we losing anything from that? What are we losing if we are? What are we gaining if we are not? And how are we telling the stories, the little few ones that we're telling, are we telling them right? From your, POV as a visual storyteller.
The truth is, if we're going to use a scale of maybe percentage, I don't think we've even told up to 5% of African stories out there. Every single culture in Africa, we all grew up with stories that once upon a time we even thought they were fable. Then you grow, you hear the same story from somebody else, and then you realize these are actual things, right? But I think one of the things that has worked against us, and maybe not just even in film, in most of our sectors, because a lot of our industries are built in ways that are dependent on money coming from outside to be big, the person who brings the money now dictates the story to be told. So, for example, we have a lot of great Africans whose lives by now should be told in movies and stuff. But because the funding for most of this is not coming from the local places, even if they are to be told, someone wants to tell them in a way that it's like this basic thing about history, for example. I can boldly say that Nigeria as a nation, we don't have one history. Our history is as diverse as who is telling you. Everybody tells you the story from their point of view to make themselves look good. So you ask, is there really truth anywhere, right? Other parts of the world, they've taken their folk tales to make superhero movies. We are still here battling with what we consider culture, what is this, what is that. So at the end, we don't do anything about that. I grew up on Tales by Moonlight as a kid. I used to enjoy it every Sunday evenings then, just because of, now we could tell ourselves with adult mind, some of those stories, they were this, they were that, but the reality is, it was a way of life for our people. Now that we have platforms to tell these stories, the commercial drive is killing the need to tell these stories. I will always say, for example, take health. Every African community you go to, they have herbs that they take for different ailments that worked, that still works. But you know how media works? There's this, call it brainwashing or whatever we want to call it. It feels almost like this. Even with food, the same thing. It's like the more you begin to grow in the Western way and make money, the more it begins to look, I don't know, like at your level, what kind of thing. You shouldn't be eating this. I told someone one time, today now we will see, maybe we'll do a party. It's not strange to see Nigerians eating from eba to amala or whatever with cutlery. But the Chinese man will still use his chopstick.
Yeah.
When you go to some of the biggest and most exclusive restaurants in Dubai, the sheikhs go and they sit on the floor.
Yeah.
And eat in open.
No matter how
bowls.
wealthy they are.
Their wealth doesn't. But for us, it feels like, no, at your level, you don't do this. So it's the same thing all across board. Somehow, there's a part of us that feels like people say Nigerians were very proud of our culture, our outfits, our this. But that pride is veiled at some level. We feel like this one, no. And then I think there's also the other dimension. I'm a church boy, but there's also this dimension where part of the formatting they give to our brain, many things African is quickly considered voodoo.
Yeah.
Or local.
So
local.
if you tell someone, I do herbs, the English word herbalist is someone who knows how to use herbs.
That's it.
But you say, if you tell someone to them a herbalist, they think you're a native doctor. It's just a simple play of words.
Yeah.
Of course,
so you don't want to even acknowledge that. So you can do this, but you don't anymore. So I feel like we're already at the point where, whether we like it or not, whether it's through cartoons, whether it's through short stories, we need to start telling our story. And every time I run my documentary classes, what I tell everybody, it will shock you that the woman who sells akara at a particular junction and trained 3 children through university, that is a story that, told right, somebody in Ukraine who has never heard of akara before will be spellbound from start to finish because of how well you told it. But you make it sound like that woman is not a hero. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I jokingly tell people about this concept of the white-collar job and how did you even get into that. And I was telling my student one day, do you realize that somewhere in our history there was a time when the colonial masters came and the first set of Africans who understood English enough to work with them, what did they wear? They dressed like their bosses. They wore white collar, white t-shirt, khaki trousers, and the rest. At that time, the hot cake of men that anybody would want to marry amongst the ladies is the guy who's a teacher.
Well,
if he's a teacher, he's educated, he's like the white man. So at that time, it's hot property.
Yeah, those days.
Now that was the beginning of this thing where everybody started chasing the white man's job. Now, at that time when there were more people in the villages, farming, food was cheap, food was available. Now we all chased the white collar job.
We left the farm.
We left the farms, came to the cities. Till date, even though some are receiving sense now, if you see a young person who maybe go to school abroad, come back and tells the family, I want to go into farming, they will send your name for prayer points because they feel that something is wrong. But it's the narratives that have been told that got us there.
Okay, now you said something quite important about us telling our stories. And as you said, we all have stories. Joke was here just reminding us of holiday is coming. I don't know the rest of the lyrics of that.
No more teachers' bell.
No more ringing bells or something like that.
Scholars goodbye, teachers goodbye, na 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 na.
Today is
the problem is that most times we learn the rhythm, not the lyrics.
Yes.
So everybody's afraid
Don't
to
expose
sing.
us now.
So
those of us are watching.
We can't know the ringer. Today is holiday. That's
Yes.
what you know.
So everyone has a story.
Yep.
Yeah.
And guess what? Everyone has a weapon.
A weapon.
Somebody described my gentle, humble phone as a weapon.
Is it not?
What that means, I don't know. Anyway, so everyone has a phone. Yep. And I know you teach people how to use their phones to make videos. Yep. Give us a short course. Yes. You have 10 minutes.
So the thing is this, I don't care the tool you're using. Whatever the tool you're using, the story is still the hero. I always tell people that there's 4 components to every story, or we call it the 4 pillars of storytelling. People, purpose, plot, and place. At the center of every story, who is the character? That's the people. Topics don't get attention, it's people that get attention. Poverty is a topic, but John is a teacher who can barely feed his family 1 meal a day. That's a person that has put a face to what you want to talk about. Somebody can relate. Somebody can connect it to their own story or something similar. So you want to tell a story, you go somewhere, who is this story about? And then there's purpose, that's the meaning. Why should I be interested? It's not just carrying camera and recording. The thing we don't realize is this: the human struggle is universal. It's like, you know how part of the brainwashing I was talking about earlier, there are people who grew up believing that everybody abroad is okay. Until you let that, there are people out there who are living on that bridge.
Yes.
Just like in Lagos. Yeah? So what's the meaning? What's the purpose? Why do you want to tell the story? I give the example of the akara seller, for example. Someone sells akara or suya in one spot for 20 years. For me, there's a story there.
Yeah.
There are people who have passed through that place. But because we don't tell it, there's a story that was told by Cristiano Ronaldo some time back about when, as a kid, hungry and everything, him and his friends would play football, come back, they don't have money or anything. Now, two sisters worked in one fast food. They will go to the back of the fast food at night, and then the food that they are supposed to dispose, these sisters would package some and give to them, him and his friends. They could have been fired if they were caught doing that. Now they will take the food. That was what kept him and his friends for a long period. So now that he became Cristiano, he was looking for them for years. Eventually found one of them after putting post out, saw these two ladies and bought the entire block, built a restaurant and gave. Now that suddenly became this big story because of when it was happening, it was nothing. Now, imagine the same person who did Akara at that point where, and there was always that person who, the families didn't even have anything, so that woman you think is doing small business is nice to one family enough to give them because they don't have to feed for that day. Now, that same child now becomes somebody tomorrow and says, I want to go look for that person. Suddenly, that woman, that sport is not exactly what you say anymore. It's taking life, it's taking meaning. Now, and then there is the plot. The before and after. You want to be deliberate to put the before, the after. Whatever it is we're talking about.
There's always a before.
There's always before and after. Then there's place. Where does this happen? A story set in the Nigerian market and a story set in a 13-story penthouse carry different energy.
Yeah.
The minute you see it on screen. I've seen people tell story because you are now made, you're telling a story of your childhood in one ghetto, but you're sitting in a penthouse.
Yeah.
The meaning is already lost from the beginning, right? It would have made sense if we saw you there before we now see you here. So having that basic knowledge of this, and it's not rocket science, carry the camera, let's hear the people. Let's see for ourselves. We're not saying make a Netflix documentary.
Yeah.
Just document it.
Yeah.
You're documenting that small story might inspire someone else to do a follow-up.
You know, this thing that you are saying is very good for Netflix and Disney
I was going to say.
and all those ones.
Yeah.
People want video that they will put out and it will be viral tomorrow.
Yes.
So, see, the thing is this.
Certainly.
So all these pilots, plots,
That's what I'm saying. When you carry your phone and you're filming this thing on the street, go online. The thing about being viral is this. Have you noticed nowadays, the cleanest videos don't necessarily go viral.
Yeah.
People are getting connected with organic stories that feel like, so now some experts are even trying to fake organic and just make it look like this thing just happened. They are staging whatever. For me, it's the idea that I don't need to be an expert. I have something to say.
Yeah.
We've met people who may not even know how to film, but they can just start sharing a story and they hold you spellbound. If that's your strength, do it. Tell us stories. It will shock you that when you put that story online, somebody somewhere will resonate. I'll give you a story. There's a village somewhere in the Niger Delta, one of those Border Cameroon, a typical Nigerian village. Someone told me about something. Okay, let me use another one. When I was a child growing up, there's this leaf in the Niger Delta that when someone is anemic, bloodshot and everything, they call it hospital too far. They cook it, put something, and then that it boosts the blood. First time I heard of it was from my mom.
Yeah.
I was a kid. And in my head, I was already in that place, I was like, yeah, right. You know? But Imagine me now growing up many years after carrying camera. I think it was me and you that day. Then we meet a doctor of natural medicine. And out of curiosity, I said, let me even ask this question.
If he knows.
And she said, oh, yes, they call it, what's it again? Iyanakpaja. There are some people call it miracle plant. I was like, it's real? I said, yes. And then she started telling me everything that it does.
Oh, my gosh.
Imagine the light bulb moment for me, like, so this was not fable, you know? And there's so much that nobody talks about. Recently, someone was, I'm trying to sleep, I'm not sleepy, this is da. And now, me too, because I did a little play there, I said, just buy nutmeg, grate a bit of it. Not too much, you put it in the food when you're making it. That, because I learned that they said in ancient times in most part of Niger Delta, when women are pregnant, there's this pregnancy, this pepper soup they make for them. That nutmeg was a core ingredient in that. And the reason was to help them sleep.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that. So when I learned it, how did I even know? I stumbled originally on this where on campus then, I make food. Once there's nutmeg and I eat, 30 minutes later, I'm like, I'm drunk. Okay. I'm gone. I said, there's something here. So I asked my younger sister who's more into this thing. And then she comes back to say, this is the history. It was always put there because it helps people to sleep.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, oh, wow. So I told this person, try it. And then she went, after she's watching this right now, she went and put a little more than she should. And then she slept almost the next day and said I'm sleepwalking. But imagine if just a simple story like that, somebody somewhere would try it. And you could be saving someone from a drug addiction where they need medicine or alcohol to sleep, and just something natural like that. It doesn't have to be a feature story. It could just be one simple story about one human, and you put it there. Like I said, everybody wants to go viral, but even those that tell you the science of virality cannot still guarantee that the video will go viral.
Interesting. I see that there's a video on the streets now. And what you don't know, okay, by the way, Joke, he saved that video. There's this Yoruba song, forgive me, I don't know how to. Some guy, some comedian, made it into an Indian song.
Typical Bollywood.
Typical Bollywood. This guy, full video. I like. Well, the video wasn't fantastic, but you cannot deny the originality of that song. So that kind of thing didn't just, and it came from what the first lady said about Akara and all those things. And in fact, you played the track of the first lady and the president calling his wife Yalakara in that video. So that kind of thing. So essentially, what you're saying is that the stories are there. We only need to look for them.
There's a guy right now I follow online who his talks are not more than 60 seconds max. He just comes, stretches his neck and says, when your papa tell you, say, when you grow, you go understand. You don't understand. Then he will laugh.
Oh my gosh.
He said, because, let's say, I don't understand. Now, it's funny, but almost every adult can relate. He just drives home the point.
Yes.
He wanted to address people beating criminals and stuff. He came up one day and he said, they were beating a thief in their street. He went to go and join them. And then the criminal, while they were beating, he looked at him and said, bros, I know your face. He said, now, for me, just that simple thing, the next time you are in that kind of community, there's something in you that just go home. Just go home.
Yes.
For it's him using some playthings and like that.
To draw.
And the thing is this, like I said before, every part of our nation, there are different content creators I follow who what they do on the surface looks like nothing. It might not mean anything to somebody in one part of Nigeria, but for someone from another part of Nigeria, you will understand immediately because, like you said, that guy's song, I didn't get it, I don't understand the language, but I like the Bollywood
version of it, the flip to it.
Somebody else is doing comedy about some Edo accent and something like that. I get it because I understand that side. And this person, what are they saying about the person that comes from that part is
certainly it is,
you know,
absolutely.
So it doesn't have to be picture or anything. We grew up with things that just the same way languages are beginning to become extinct. And we're joking with it.
Yeah.
It's the same way our history,
our culture,
our food, our culture is vanishing, and it's simply because we're not taking enough pride in passing it down the way it should.
Absolutely.
Like when I came earlier, you were talking, the conversation you were having. Everywhere now on the internet, there's this thing, Nigerian mom, African mom, and all of that. Now, people, some that may not get it will say, but there are those who will tell it to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank God for that generation of African moms.
Yes.
Because, see, sometimes the fear of your mother is more than the fear
the beginning
of God.
of wisdom.
Wisdom new.
You want to misbehave. When you think what Momsi would do.
Absolutely. Well, I told you this is a storyteller.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Is.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. Timi Pudie is a filmmaker and visual storyteller with an astonishing creative latitude in the production ecosystem. Thank you so much. This morning, this masterclass, I'm sure that some people are going to start using it.
They have kept the video and keep looking at it over and over again.
And that's the show today. Thank you for the privilege of being a part of your Saturday morning. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm Ayo Makinde.
And I'm Joker Rogers. Bye.